A valuable lesson today, guys. Sometimes poor decisions happen. You should move on and forget about it. That's the lesson. Okay. All right, guys. What am I doing? We're doing worship. You guys ready for worship? Come on up. I'm just sitting right here.
Hello.
Hey guys, we're gonna do a song that we just learned at retreat. We're gonna add it to the repertoire of jumping songs, but we kind of need to figure out what to do for it. Okay? The song is "I Thank God." Okay? We're gonna "I Thank God." It's a fun one. It's super fun. We had a great time in retreat. We gotta think of some motions for it, guys. So. I don't know. I don't really have a plan. You guys are going to have one of the special opportunities to come up with some motions. Come up with something for this song, okay? So here's what I'm thinking, right? Joey, you're pretty good at these. I'll just tell you my thoughts, okay? Okay? Pick me up means to jump, right?
What about the dancers of the group? They should be able to help too.
Yeah, we got some dancers. We got some dancers.
She'll take Brinley with her.
Brinley, you should tell her to All right. Okay.
Oh yeah, you are.
Here's what I'm thinking. For the chorus, it goes like, he picks me up, he turns me around. So I'm thinking I think turn around is easy enough. We turn around, pick me up is you just jump up really big and go like that. I don't know.
I'm not jumping anywhere.
It's totally gonna work. Oh, dude. Okay.
Joey's practicing on the first.
Okay. This is gonna be amazing. Okay.
Possibly the internet.
He placed my feet on the solid ground. Right? I think we need to jump on the word. He placed my feet on the solid ground. Right? Solid. On the word solid. Okay? Ooh! I like that. Honestly, it's getting too crowded. So what Dean said is you stop on the word solid and then ground. So solid ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we I thank Master, I thank Savior. Because he healed my heart. He changed my name. Forever free, I am not the same. I thank Master, I thank Savior, I thank God. And then we're just dancing. We're just jumping and dancing at that point. Okay? We just try it, see what happens. We got Kate. You've heard it? Nice. All right. Here we go. Woo, let's see how this goes. I try with all my might, I just can't win the fight. I'm so guilty. A vagabond. It's just that I know I'm better than I didn't know. And he told me I was not alone. He picked me up, he turned me around, placed my feet on the solid ground. I think master, I think savior. Because you knew my heart, you changed my name. Remember me, I am the same. I think master, I think freedom. I thank God. Got no choice but to believe my thoughts were. So on to my old friend. Turn you can't just keep moving. Go, you ain't welcome here. I want the streets go. I'll see you how you sing my soul. This curious song is found its way back home. You pick me up, turn me around, place my feet on the solid ground. I thank Master, I thank Savior, because you healed my heart, you changed my name. Remember me, I am not the same. I thank Master, I thank Savior, I thank God. We'll just start together. I lost another one and I am free. I am free. I am free. I lost another one and I am free. I am free. I am free. I lost another one and I am free. I am free. I am free. I lost another one and I am free. I am free. I am free. I lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free. Oh, I lost another one. I am free. I am free. I am free. I lost another one. I am free. I am free. Oh, I am free. He picks me up, turn me around. Place my feet on the solid ground. I thank Master, I thank Savior. Oh, because He healed my heart, changed my name. Never really I'm not the same. I thank Master, I thank Savior. Oh, I thank God. Rock students will dance this song for generations to come, doing exactly what you guys just did, guys. This made history. This made history. Crazy.
Hey y'all, remember? Hey boys! Shut up!
That must be a Dobbins.
You guys remember a couple months ago when you guys helped me write a song? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do it again. You guys, we're doing this acoustic because we don't have backtrack. So can y'all like clap a lot, make it super high? Paris gonna play guitar and there's no other sound.
We're gonna do this like a
Wait.
Perfect.
Don't you have a rap?
You guys can clap a lot and like when I start
We're
getting
gonna
like
turn
ooh a
we're gonna
lot.
turn it to home now.
Okay.
You can do that where you are. You don't have to do that. It's already good. Get you to turn on for the soundboard. That's all right. Just like once start moving, just kind of like get it up to where it needs to be. Okay.
You guys ready?
Okay, guys, we got this. Remember, there's a rap in the middle of it. Like, there's a rap in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So.
when I start
Okay.
rapping, like hit me up. I might listen.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Wow. Alrighty. Man, nobody has no idea what this is. Original rock song. Original, guys. That is amazing. I grab a seat. Don't get that everywhere.
It's like a sweaty autograph too. Thank you. Definitely wants to sing.
Oh, oh, Brad. Awesome doing a new song now. Guys, I don't know about you, but like I Thank God is actually like my favorite one that we did at the retreat. I didn't expect it, but it was just so sweet. We got a couple announcements for you guys. Number one is if you just like coming here, chilling, playing games, and hanging out, we got a game night on March 18th. That is in a couple Fridays. It is from 6 to 10. The way we do game nights is it's an open house. All right, so we got 4 hours of just open house time. There will be pizza, and it's really just us hanging out without an agenda. We have no agenda except for me to win playing board games, which I always do. So there you go. Yeah, I won every time last time. I'm just saying. I don't think I lost a single time, except once in Throw Burrito. Once in Throw Burrito. That didn't happen. Yeah, which was totally rigged anyway. So Dave. What? There's going to be a pro sale, guys. We're selling afros. It's going to be amazing. Like, bring your friends. That's all I got to say. All right, that's going to be March 18th. Next announcement is Next Gen. All right, Next Gen is a new thing taking the place of an old thing. We used to do something called Student Takeover every year, where we would basically take over Sunday morning and just basically make it about a day about the students, and to showcase the rest of the church, what God is doing here at the Rock, what He's doing at 707 through you guys. But over the years, I'm just going to give you a little background into why we're making a little bit of a shift this year into something called Next Gen. Because one of the main reasons we do this is not just to show the church and have a cool Sunday where we highlight what God is doing here in this ministry, and to try to bring the connection, bridge the gap between student ministries and Sunday morning church. But another big reason we do that is for scholarship fundraising. For those of you who came to retreat, there's a decent amount of you guys, both here and at 707, who used scholarship money. And that is a great thing, guys. We have scholarship money for a purpose. It's because we don't want money to be a reason that someone can't go to camp. We don't want anyone to not be able to go to retreat because of money. And so we have money set aside for that reason. But that money comes from somewhere. I don't know if you have a grandpa that said like money doesn't grow on trees or anything, or I don't know, you must have had some kind of saying like that growing up. But it's true. Money comes from somewhere, and typically it comes from people's donations. People's donations because they believe in what God is doing in this ministry, and they want to give kids a chance to be able to go to camp who can't afford it. And so we've always had Student Takeover be one of the main things that we do every year to raise funds for our scholarships. But here's the deal. Both Club 45 and the K3 Cove also do a camp. K3 Cove does a camp called Spring Hill Day Camps every year in the summer. And then Club 45, 4th and 5th graders, some of you guys may remember, does a annual Spring Hill trip in the fall. And that also needs scholarship money. And so we kind of found ourselves in the ministries like constantly doing these little scholarship fundraisers throughout the year. And we decided, you know what? God isn't only working in the kids' ministry. He's not only working in student ministry. He's working in all of our ministries. Let's just make this a day about everyone, like 12 and under, and let's just have it be one pool of scholarship fund to go from. And so we're going to be combining into this one day. We're calling it Next Gen. All right. So it still is student takeover in a lot of ways. Like we're all taking over different things, but there's also just going to be kids highlighted too in that as well. And I think it's a really cool opportunity for our kids to feel connected to you guys as well. So I'm super excited. It's going to be awesome. And we do need help for it, guys. We need some signups. So it's going to be a pancake breakfast down here after each service, where we're just going to hang out and eat pancakes. But it's also going to be the chance for people to donate at that point. And we need help with that. We need help upstairs, taking over a lot of the different things that normally adults do in the church, except for security. No offense, but yeah. Just gonna leave that there. So, I mean, yeah. I guess you guys could probably do security, but even then, a tag along security guy, dude. Do we have like a? Do we have like a body armor vest? Like, so it says like press or something. Like that would be really sweet. That is true. That is true. Yes, Drew. Great question, Drew. Wonderful question. We got our signups on that blue table right there underneath the chalkboard, the welcome chalkboard. Okay. So when you're ready, we need help for both of those services. There's different positions on it. Just go ahead and put your name under those, and that'll be awesome. All right. I think there's still some positions left, but they are actually going relatively quickly. Okay. Next announcement is Life Group Night. Woo! March 24th. Awesome. And that is going to be, I think that is in 3 Thursdays. That is, we got Life Group Night, which means you got a couple weeks to figure out where you guys want to go. Typically, what I think the best thing for Life Group Night is to find someone's house like pick a house like in your life group, could be maybe one of your staff or one of you guys, and just chill there. Like that's what I think is one of the best things. And if you want to do something else too, then you know you guys can talk about that. But I think that's one of the best things to do because it's free, and free is the best. Okay, those are the best kinds of things. But yeah, unless you guys buy pizza, then you'll figure that out. But anyway, that's going to be in a few Thursdays, 3 weeks from now. So you guys can talk about that in Life Group Night. What you guys want to do, what you want that to look like, because we want to have the addresses of the people of where each life group is going to be posted for everyone, so no one gets confused. All right, you guys ready for our staff chat? She's our very one and only, our beloved Ariana.
I did love Barbie growing up. So I'm Ari. You guys know that. Not gonna lie, guys. I'm ready. Hey, no, that's okay. Ariana is a very specific name for very specific people. Not Perry. Not Perry. Just to me. Anyway, you guys. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm already sweating a lot because that game was like hard, but it's fun. And like rapping, that's hard, man. So don't stare at me because it'll make me uncomfortable. No, I'm just kidding.
Look at her shoes. Okay.
But anyway, serious talk. So I don't feel like I'm police. So I usually don't do super serious stuff. You guys know, like I like to do songs with you guys, and I like to write about you, like my bad days. And today's like not like that though. So there's like a lot on my mind right now, and I know like this can be a stressful time, and I don't know if you guys have heard about like Ukraine going on right now, but I have a friend, one of my best guy friends, his name's Nick, lives in Ukraine, and so it's been on my heart and on my mind a lot recently, and luckily he lives closer to Romania, so he's in the safer zone, but he has family that's in Kyiv, like the place that's getting bombed. So if you guys didn't know, Russia's attacking Ukraine. I know you've watched the news, but right now it's just a really hard time because not only am I trying to figure this out in my head because we didn't live through like 9/11 or any really big wars that are memorable for us. So this is something that is not. It may be really far away, but we still have to be supportive and loving on everybody in Ukraine, praying for them because it's hard. Kids like us, kids that are 18 are getting drafted. That's only a little bit older than you guys. But no, my friend's 17, he's not. But so it's a hard time right now, and even though we're so far away, we can still be doing something about it. And you don't have to be like giving money or anything. You don't do that. Literally just pray, and that's the one thing. So I just wanted to share with you guys some pictures that Nick sent to me. These first two, his cousin actually took these pictures, so you can see it. That one was just on Instagram that he sent me, but you can see all of this destruction happening. And when I was on a FaceTime call with him the other day, and he was telling me how more Ukrainian citizens have died than soldiers. Let me say that again. More citizens have died than soldiers. At this point, you can use the definition of terrorism because it's killing innocent civilians. This is not following War Street at all anymore. And it's really hard just because, like, usually you guys know how war goes. You've heard about it in history classes. Two people line up and they all fight each other. Whoever wins, wins, right? At this point, it's not like that. All the Russian soldiers are starting to just bomb hospitals, are starting to bomb random cars, are starting to bomb everything. And more civilians are dead than soldiers. He was also telling me that a lot of his neighbors and things are selling like their valuables, like boys, your sports cars that you'll have one day. Imagine having to sell that for your military to have enough money to be able to pay for weapons to protect their own lives. And the biggest plane in the world, Russia destroyed. And everything right now is just really crazy over there. And so I've been praying about it a lot with my life group leaders, as you guys know, I'm in 707. And these are some of, if you go to the last slide, yeah. These are some of the verses that I've been praying. So Psalm 46:10 says, he says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." Isaiah 61:1-2, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, proclaim the years of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn." And last one is Luke 1:74-75. "To rescue us from the hand of our enemies and to enable us to serve him without fear and holiness and righteousness before him in all our days." So this actually comes, I don't know if you guys have heard of Jenny Allen. She does a lot of Bible studies and stuff, but she's been listening about too. But I just want you guys to think of that in the back of your heads, like when you're praying or whatever, that just know that there are people like us, kids your age, that their parents are giving them funds right now to be able to protect themselves. So I know that's kind of depressing, but can we pray real quick, you guys? God, I just pray for everybody out there, everybody in Ukraine, and I pray that you can just watch over them, Lord, that you can just guide them and through this. It might be an angry time, stressful, it might be scary, whatever their feelings are, please, God, just be with them. And I pray for all these students and that they can understand like what's going on, and they can pray for them as well, Lord, because you are the highest power and you are the greatest, and without you, we'd be nothing. And so I pray for my friend Nick and all of his family and everybody there, and that they can just trust you, Lord. So, in Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Let's do some more worship right now. It's a great note to praise God on that. He's given us a place to worship and he's given us safety, but it's also good to pray for those who don't have that. Let's see. No matter what our situation is, we can always have a place in the Father's arms. He's right there in front of us. I've carried a burden for two. I wasn't created to bear it alone. I hear your invitation to let it all go. And I see you now, laying it down. When I know that I need you. Run to the Father, fall into grace. Done with my heart, reason to wait. Morning to search, soul to pray. So I run to the Father again and again and again. Oh, you saw my condition right from the start. You sought for redemption, Christ for my And I don't have the context for that kind of love. I don't understand, I can't comprehend. All I know is I need you. Run to the Father, fall into grace. With the heart, reason to wait. I need to search you, so need to pray. So I run to the Father again and again and again. Whoa, It's working for my time. Now feel this rush deep in my chest. Just as I am, you pull me in. I know I need you. To the Father, glory to grace. With the heart, reason to wait. One need to search, so need to pray. So run to the Father again and again. Run to the Father, glory to grace. With the heart, reason to wait. One need to search, so need to pray. So run to the Father again and again. Find me here, Lord, as you draw me near, desperate for more, desperate for more. I surrender. Drench my soul, His mercy and grace unfold, hunger and thirst, hunger and thirst. With arms stretched wide, I know you hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me. I surrender.
I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you. I want to know you.
Spirit of God is powerful. To the rushing winds. It's like a loud God breathing this way.
Like a rushing wind, Jesus breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty wind, Jesus breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, surge within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a rushing wind, Jesus breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Lord, have your way in me. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you. I want to know you. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you. I want to know you.
Father God, we thank you for giving us a chance to go to you, Lord, to have arms wide open as a father, Lord, so that we can always come to you, so we can always come to you no matter what's happening in our life, no matter what kind of pain is going on out there in the world, Lord. You have arms wide open, Lord. So we lift up those in Ukraine, Lord. We lift everyone up, Lord, who needs you, Lord. We pray that your gospel would move in those places, that you would show your light and your goodness where it needs to shine the brightest right now in the world, in the darkest places, God. So we pray that all in your name. All right, there it is. All right. Hey guys, we are moving right along in our series right now, picking up where we left off in our series on the Sermon on the Mount, which we're calling "And He Began to Teach Them," putting ourselves at the feet of Jesus, listening to His Word, and the greatest sermon ever told. And today we're going to move into a very powerful and yet sometimes kind of misunderstood part of the Sermon on the Mount, because oftentimes in our world, Jesus has kind of been reduced to some little like snippets, like little tiny moments or little tiny teachings or things that He's ever said, and so that even non-Christians, wherever they are, will kind of know something that Jesus said this kind of thing. And we are about to hit one of those things. Because Jesus had just finished the end of Matthew. We're going to be in Matthew 7. He had just finished the end of Matthew 6, where he goes into one of the most encouraging parts of his sermon. He instructs his disciples not to worry about tomorrow. That's what he says. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. He said, look to the sparrows, look to the birds of the air, see how God feeds them. They don't have any storehouses, they don't labor in the fields, they don't toil, and yet God feeds them from His own hand. Look at the flowers of the field, look at the lilies. You see how God has dressed them in all splendor, and yet not even Solomon is dressed as beautiful as one of these. Right? He ended that in Matthew 6. It's an incredibly encouraging part of not being anxious, not worrying about tomorrow, and moving into a place of trust and reliance on a God who provides. But then he moves to chapter 7. And like I said, we're hitting like one of the most well-known snapshots that people love if they just want to take one thing from Jesus and kind of like put it in their pocket and then pull out in case they ever need it. It's this moment. Because Jesus says this in chapter 7. He says, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measures you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look to the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take that speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you'll be able to see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Now, the whole passage is usually not as well known, but I will say that if there's one like little one-liner that everyone knows about Jesus, it's this one. Don't judge, right? If you're a judgy person, and then someone looks at you like, wow, you're judgy. You're not like Jesus, because Jesus says don't judge. Typically, there's been surveys done in our country, and Christians, specifically evangelical Christians, are seen as one of the judgiest people in our country, which to a lot of people feel hypocritical because of this moment, of this moment in the chapter when Jesus says, "Do not judge." So how can Christians be some of the judgiest people in our world? Our culture has a kind of a thing about judginess. We don't like judginess. We don't like judginess. We don't like judgy people. Judgy people are typically arrogant, conceited, entitled, and we don't like that, right? We don't like that. Our culture is even given a name for a female judgy person. You know that name? It's the K word. A Karen, yes, the Karen, right? That's a judgy female. And I think it's absolutely I think it's sexist that there's no male version of it. I've heard that there is a male version of it. Carl? See, you're coming up with different names. It's not the same as Karen, okay? I've heard Kevin, I've heard Carl, I've heard multiple things. There's not a male version. I'm telling you, there's not just one male version. It's just a female version. But whatever. So this seems like a nice thing in our culture of disliking judginess, disliking Karens, right? This seems like a nice, easy thing for us to be on Team Jesus over. Like, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, we can all agree that we shouldn't be judgy, right? But Jesus wasn't speaking to a time and culture like ours. Okay, he wasn't in the middle of 21st century America when he said these words. He wasn't looking specifically out to the Karens in the crowd and telling them not to yell at employees at Chipotle looking for a manager. Okay, that's not exactly what he was looking at, and when he was looking at the crowd of people in his day. He was speaking to his followers, his disciples, and he was giving them instructions on how to relate to each other. Was he simply saying that judgment is bad, all judgment, right? And that we should just always approve and affirm everything about everyone? Because that tends to be how people take this moment, right? We should just approve of people. We should not judge people. Let you do you, and then I'll do me, and then none of us will judge one another. Every person for themselves. No big deal. Is that what Jesus is saying? Well, later in his ministry, Jesus rebukes people who are judging Jesus for healing on the Sabbath. People were judging Jesus, and Jesus didn't say, "Hey, stop judging me, Karen." He didn't say that, okay? He didn't say, "Hey, don't be judgy." Did you listen to my Sermon on the Mount? That's not what he says. He says this. He says this in John 7. He says, "Stop judging by mere appearances. Instead, judge correctly." Okay, so Jesus said, judge correctly. Don't judge incorrectly, judge correctly. So we should judge correctly. And then it's the exact same chapter in Matthew 7. Jesus says this, just a few verses later, he says, watch out for false prophets. Watch out for false teachers. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ferocious wolves. By their fruit, you will recognize them. By their fruit, you will judge between them. Right? That's what he's talking about right now. He's using that word in a different way. Save that until right after, okay, bud? We'll talk right after, all right, okay? Put it in that steel trap of yours. All right. So let's define what it means, what Jesus says when he says, do not judge. He's speaking about condemnation. That's what he's talking about in this moment. When he says, do not judge, he's saying, do not condemn. He's not saying discernment or evaluating, okay? And when we use the word judge, we tend to use any one of those things. He's not saying we shouldn't discern. You guys know what discern means? It means wisely understanding the truth of a situation. That's what discerning means. Wisely understanding someone between good and evil, between right and wrong. That's discernment, right? To understand what is righteous and what is sin, right? What is good, what is bad. To use wisdom in doing it. That's what discernment is. Or evaluating a situation and maybe needing critique on how to improve it. Okay, that's evaluation. When Jesus says don't judge, he's not saying don't discern. And he's not saying don't evaluate or critique or improve. He's saying don't condemn. We should go through this world with open eyes. We should be asking the Lord's help to make things clear around us so that we can recognize sin when we see it and call it by its right name and seek to avoid it for ourselves and then try to help bring restoration and redemption to whatever and whoever it touches. That is how we're supposed to walk through this world. What Jesus is instructing us not to do is to condemn people in their sin. Condemnation is a pronunciation of guilt combined with the pronunciation of a sentence over them. You know what I'm saying? A pronunciation of guilt and then a sentence. You know what a sentence is? I'm not talking about English class. What's a sentence? Okay, give it to me.
Sentence is like how long you're staying in jail.
Exactly. Yeah. A sentence is a punishment. Okay, that's what it is. Like if a judge gives a sentence to someone who did something wrong, let's say like someone ran over your grandma's toe, and they did it on purpose. All right, so they're in trouble, and they're in front of the judge, and the judge says your sentence is 40 hours of community service at the elderly clinic, if that's a thing, at the old people's home. Okay, that would be a sentence, right? It's a punishment. It's a punishment. Condemnation is pronouncing someone guilty and sentencing them. That's what condemnation is. We should recognize and evaluate sin as in a person, but not condemn them. Why? There are a few reasons that Jesus gives us exactly why we should not be the ones condemning. Number one is Jesus says that you will be judged. Because you will be judged. This is the most simple reason. If you stand as a condemner over someone else, you will be condemned by God. Jesus is saying that while the Spirit of God gives you the strength to see truth and discern sin, that's exactly what the Spirit does. It's not our job to condemn someone else. That's the Lord's job. He is the just judge, not us. He's going to do that with everyone's sin at the end. And you trying to step into that role that's reserved only for him is a sin in itself. And it brings condemnation right on your head for overstepping your bounds. This is something I have to teach Topher, my oldest, all the time. Topher is a very great, responsible oldest child, but sometimes he gets ahead of himself, and he feels like when William or Molly is doing something wrong, that he gets to punish them. I've heard it before. I've heard him say like we have a system in our house called strikes and stars, and we give out strikes if the kids do something wrong, and if they have a certain amount of strikes, they have a consequence. We give them stars for obeying and doing obeying our family values. I know it's super cheesy, but it works. It works with our kids. But hey, only mom and dad give strikes, okay? The strikes are only allowed to be given by mom and dad. And I've heard Topher go up to William before when William was disobeying or doing something wrong and said, "William, that is a strike." As if he had the right to do it. And I'm like, I walk up to him and be like, "Topher, that's a strike." And you just see it on his face. He wheels around like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get a strike." I'm like, because you overstepped your bounds, Topher. You're not the dad, okay? You're not the judge of William. William will get a strike in his due time. But you stepping into that role when it's not yours, that brings condemnation on you too. And that's what it's like for us, guys. If you try to step into the role that God alone has as the judge, you will be judged. And you will be judged, but number two, by the measure you use to judge other people. And this is true, is that whatever you judge and condemn someone else, from God's perspective, God has a perfect bird's eye, 100% 20/20 vision perspective of you and the person you're judging. And when you judge someone else, you are placed right next to that person in God's eyes. And inevitably, when he sees you falling into the same sin that they do, that you've judged them for, that you've condemned them for. If you judge someone else for being mean to you behind your back, or gossiping and slandering, saying mean things to you to someone else, saying mean things about you to someone else, and you're judging them for it, and you're condemning them for it, and you're angry, and you hold that into a hatred and a bitterness that just kind of boils in your heart. God looks at you, and from his perspective, he sees you doing the exact same things. He knows your heart, and it's the same. So now you're a slanderer, just like the person you've condemned, and you're a hypocrite. That's what Jesus says. If you condemn someone else for being a liar, they lied to you, they lied about someone else, God sees your lie as clear as day. So now you're a liar and a hypocrite. Oh, wait, what about judging someone for something I actually don't do? Like something they really did, that they're really horrible people, and I would never do something like that. Let's say they did drugs. And I know they did drugs, and that was terrible. That was awful. They deserve condemnation for that. Well, obviously, we should recognize that that's wrong, and then seek to help the person away from that. But if you condemn, remember, condemn is declaring guilty and then sentencing over them. If you condemn them, then you're placed right next to them in God's eyes, and the Lord sees the heart of all people. And he sees the same broken, sinful heart that drove that person to drugs for comfort. He sees your sinful heart going straight to something else for comfort. Same stuff, same brokenness, same sin, and now you're a hypocrite. We will be judged by the measure that we use on other people. The best kind of judge we can hope to be on this earth is a hypocritical one. That's the best kind. We won't get better than that. You'll never be able to judge someone out of a perfect righteousness in your own heart because we're not righteous. The Lord declares us righteous in his gospel and in his goodness, but it didn't come from us. Number 3, why should we not judge? Because Jesus says we should attend to ourselves first. He's not saying attend to ourselves in a selfish or self-centered way. He's saying attend to your problems and your sin first. Jesus is the image of being fixated on a speck that you see in someone else's eye but not noticing a giant plank in your own eye, which is a ridiculous image if you think about it. But Jesus is saying this because he knows us, and it's incredibly true. It is so easy to see the sin in someone else, right? You don't have to be a pastor to do that, okay? Pastors don't have some kind of like special sin vision in other people. Like anybody can see sin in other people. It's just called being a human being. It's real easy to sin in other people. It is so unbelievably hard to see your own sin. It's very, very difficult to see your own sin. One of the things that your sin does is it turns your attention away from your own problems and focus on everyone else's problems. Good things that come your way happen because you're awesome. And then bad things that come your way happen because someone else stinks. That's kind of how our minds like to work. We notice the headwinds in our life. We don't notice or realize the tailwinds. We think of ourselves in the best way possible. We try to think of ourselves in the best way possible and not really see the plank and the sin that's going on really in our heart. You can spend all day looking into a mirror, trying to analyze yourself, and you'll still come up short with just how much sin is in your heart, just how deep it really goes. Which is why we look for help from other people, other believers in the church, to work on getting the planks out of our own eye, because you won't be able to see them by yourself. And then you'll be a part of God's work getting the speck out of someone else's eye. Not with condemnation, but with truth and with love, the way Jesus does it. If you spend all your time focusing on everyone else's sin, you just end up becoming blind to your own every time. And trust me, that's going to be real awkward when you get to heaven and you stand in front of him, in front of his perfect judgment, because Hebrews 4:13 says, nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of him to whom we must give account. Every hidden piece of ourselves will be uncovered before God. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is secret. Doesn't matter. It will be uncovered. So let's not make it an awkward moment. Let's ask the Lord to help us in discernment today and with ourselves. And then be a part of positive restoration when sin hits someone else rather than condemnation. God does see your sin. You might not be able to see it, but he does. Let him focus on someone else's and let him help you focus on yours. The last one is important when it comes to condemnation, is that we can't really love those that we condemn. Why does Jesus not want us to condemn and judge? It's because we don't really have the ability to love those that we condemn. One of the reasons this is important is because it's not really possible to have this care and love for someone that we are declaring guilty and then sentencing with this kind of judgy condemnation. We don't have the capacity to love and care for those that we're judging and condemning. God does, and he's the only one who can do it. God is the only one who has that kind of ability to judge over all, to be perfectly just and perfectly righteous and perfectly good, and yet love us enough to send his son to stand in your place of judgment, because his love is just so huge and so big. That perfect combination of justice and mercy and love and care is something that only he can really do. If we try, we're going to bring judgment down on our own heads. Jesus says, hey, don't worry about the condemnation and the justice. That's the Lord's doing. He's going to be the judge. I want you to worry about the sin in your own heart. Do that with other people and be a part of my restoration and redemption in this world by going through care and love and compassion. Now remember, discerning sin and recognizing it with wisdom, this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. And we need to be able to do this together as a church, all together. It is loving to tell a person in sin and help them towards the truth of the gospel, as long as you're doing that for yourself. But you can't love them if you're doing it in condemnation. You don't have that ability to do both of those things together. Only the Lord does. And he will. So as we head into life groups, guys, I want you to think through these questions. Think about the people in your life. Who are you judge over? Who do you stand as a judge and condemner over? Are there people that you condemn? Are there people that you judge? What do you judge them for? And remember that we typically have the same hearts that we judge other people for having. What would letting go of that condemnation and judgment look like for you guys? Let's talk about that in life groups together.